Welcome to My Health and Safety, the podcast designed to bridge the gap between your personal and workplace wellness. I'm Tamara Misewicz-Healey, a passionate health and safety professional who strives to help create a happier and healthier world. Workplace health and safety is simply a continuation of our personal health and safety, but we often feel powerless at work. You know, where we currently spend over a third of our life. Although it may feel hopeless to integrate the two, I'm here to challenge that it's very much within reach and is absolutely necessary for our long-term well-being. Now, let's learn how to take things from powerless to powerful. Hello, and welcome to the My Health and Safety podcast, episode numero uno. This episode is an icebreaker. I'll introduce myself and the My Health and Safety podcast. We'll get into who I am, why I'm starting this podcast, what the podcast is all about, and what I hope it'll bring to my listeners. So let's get started. First off, I'm Tamara Misewicz-Healey. It's a super easy name to remember, but in case you have any difficulties, you may call me Tammy. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm addicted to coffee and dark chocolate. Professionally, I'm the founder and CEO of an environmental health and safety company called MiEHS Alliance, and the creator of a culture-based safety management system called MiSafetySense. I have a master's degree in public health and over 10 years of experience in the environmental health and safety field, with roles in laboratory, consulting, healthcare, and manufacturing. I have performed work throughout the United States and abroad, which has provided me with unique experiences and perspective. Overall, I'm a passionate health and safety professional who's really just trying to make the world a little healthier and happier. My desire for something more led to the creation of MiEHS Alliance and the MiSafetySense program. As a passionate EHS professional, I constantly envision all the ways we can improve upon worker health and safety. While reviewing behavior-based safety programs in 2018, I realized they were all missing something, or missing a lot. I couldn't recommend any of them, and it was at that moment I knew I needed to create something I would confidently stand behind. I formed MiEHS Alliance LLC and began the journey of creating MiSafetySense. So, MiSafetySense starts with the individual. It's not industry-specific, it's human-specific. The idea behind MiSafetySense is to instill a safety sense into each of us through purpose, knowledge, systems, and support. Although it starts with the individual, it truly takes the entire workforce to truly transition to a culture of worker health and safety. This includes every employee, the work environment, and the leadership directing it all. Individuals often care deeply about their health and well-being, but feel powerless in the workplace. By empowering every individual, you are strengthening everything about your company. Instead of having one or two safety professionals, you can have eyes and solutions coming from everywhere. With that collective effort, the sky is the limit. So, why have I started the My Health and Safety podcast? It already seems like I'm doing a lot in this space. Simply put, it's a niche I'm extremely interested and passionate about, that we're really not having enough conversations around. And there's just so much room for improvement in this space. I'm having these conversations all the time, personally and professionally, and decided why not bring these conversations to listeners who are also interested in learning more about their health and safety, and in particular, what they can do at work to continue their personal wellness and even influence the wellness of their organization. And that's really what the My Health and Safety podcast is all about. Presenting information, asking stimulating questions, and growing together to improve human health and safety while challenging how this translates to the workplace, from both the individual and the organizational level. What I hope My Health and Safety will bring for my listeners? I have no idea what sort of following this podcast will have. I'm pretty used to an initial lack of enthusiasm around health and safety conversations, but usually spark interest once we get going. I I aim to deliver content and conversations that are interesting, engaging, and challenging. I hope to challenge what we think we know in practice and push creativity, science, and our mindset to really explore beyond the norm and into the possibilities. This podcast aims to challenge my guest speakers, my listeners, and myself. I really want to foster a community of thought leaders and support, whom can go back out to each other's worlds and feel equipped and empowered to make positive change where we can. We're going to end today's introduction there and close up with the Power 4 guest questions, which I'll be answering for today. Question 1. Related to today's discussion, if you had to simplify everything you know professionally and personally into one recommendation or piece of advice, what would it be? That health includes so much more than diet and exercise, and that we can't afford to just ignore our health and well-being during working hours. We need to start assessing our health through a larger lens and ensure we're including all aspects of our life, including our work life. Question 2. What are 2 pieces of content you absolutely recommend to everyone and anyone related to health and safety or wellness in the broadest of sense? Meaning this could be mental health, spiritual health, and on any medium such as podcast, YouTube, book, or movie. There's just so much good content out there on any platform you can imagine. So this is definitely a tough question, but I guess I'll answer based on what has really stood out to me over this past year. First, the Huberman Lab podcast. It is absolutely mind-blowing content that has really pieced together so much for me. So much healthy goodness and practical tools. Dr. Huberman is a tenured professor of neurobiology and ophthalmology at Stanford School of Medicine. And the podcast discusses how our brain and its connections with the organs of our body controls our perceptions, our behaviors, and our health. Highly recommend checking it out. Second is the Compendium Children's Books. That's right. I'm going from PhD level neurobiology to children's books that I read to my 2-year-old. The ones I own and absolutely love, enough to mention them right now, are What Do You Do With an Idea? What Do You Do With a Problem? What Do You Do With a Chance? And Trying. They are so incredibly good, from the message to the artwork. And to be honest, I probably read them more for myself than for my son at this point. However, I cannot wait until he's a little older and we can actually explore the concepts of these books together. They break down huge concepts that impact every human so simply and beautifully, and I recommend them to anyone and everyone, no matter your age. Question 3. What is one of your favorite quotes and why? So, I could read quotes all day. It's one of my favorite things to do. A ton of content in a simple sentence. So this is really a huge question for me to limit it to one. But I'd have to say, at least at this moment in my life, it'd be a combination of you reap what you sow, and the day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit. This is definitely one of my favorite quotes, and it's something I say to myself daily. I was always tougher on myself than anyone else ever was. And if I wasn't getting results quickly, I was obviously doing things wrong and failing. It took me a long time to change that internal wiring for myself and work through a new understanding that things don't have to be perfect, especially to get started. And the most important things you want to grow, change, foster, simply take continuous hard work, fine-tuning, and time. And this is true for everything beautiful in life. Your relationships, your faith, your health and fitness, your career, your hobbies, your personal growth and development. So if it matters to you, keep planting and you'll get that fruit. Question 4. Completely outside of your line of work or being a parent, what are 3 things you really enjoy doing for yourself? So first, for me, would be swimming. Just swimming laps by myself. It's almost like a type of meditation for me. The way you focus on the sound of your heartbeat and your breathing when your head is in the water, the rhythmic breathing with each stroke, it just really allows me to clear my head and be completely in the moment. Second would be mountain biking. This is actually an activity my husband and I share together. We're really outdoorsy people, and getting out on the trails up in the mountains is right up our alley. Third would be going for breakfast. I am obsessed with little breakfast places and always have to check out the local breakfast joints no matter where we travel to. It's the environment, the food, the coffee, the conversations. I just always feel great getting out and having a hot breakfast. Well, that is it for the first episode of My Health and Safety. I was completely nervous as this is the first episode of mine ever as a podcaster, and definitely something that is going to take some time to get used to. We are also video recording our podcasts so we can share them on YouTube. So if you'd like to see how nervous I look, you can also watch me on YouTube. I hope this episode was insightful into who I am a little, why I'm starting this podcast, what this podcast is all about, and what I hope it'll bring to my listeners. Next week, we're going to start diving a little deeper, and you'll hear a snippet of what that content is at the end of this episode. As we continue to move forward, we'll be bringing on content experts to continuously engage and challenge ourselves. So, a lot more to come. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. All show notes and guest bios can be found on our website at MiEHSAlliance.com. That's MiEHSAlliance.com. If you enjoyed our content, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Finally, here's a sneak peek on what's to come next week. See y'all then. Maybe that's the beautiful side to having to rebuild ourselves over and over again. We come back more sculpted. We chisel away the parts that never really belong there in the first place. And we start to see a new, beautiful formation that better represents us.